Okay, hi guys. I am so excited to introduce you to my dear friend, Elena. In this video, we're going to talk about her journey and how she and her husband came down to El Salvador and what she's looking most forward to in the future and what she's creating to make El Salvador an even better place and a better country. So first of all, here she is, Miss Angel Ellena. And
Hello.
could you tell everybody a little bit about where you're originally from, but what you do now?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, my name is Elena and my YouTube channel is Angel Ellena. And I originally found Jeni on YouTube before we actually moved to El Salvador. And I absolutely loved her channel and her videos. So
Really?
eventually,
I didn't know that.
yes, I did. I thought you were awesome. Eventually, after we moved, then I reached out to you.
Oh, okay.
But I originally am from England and I was born and raised there. My husband, however, is Salvadoran by heritage, by birth, but he was born and raised in New York, in the US. So before we moved to El Salvador, I was in the UK, my husband was still in New York, and we both came to conclude that El Salvador was the right place to be.
Wow, wow. And right now, what are the things that kind of the big things that you've accomplished and the things that you're passionate about and doing right now?
Well, I would say number one, when we moved here, we decided to buy a piece of land and build a house.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't easy because we didn't really know anyone, but we decided to take the risk, right? You have to take a leap of faith when you're going to do bigger things in your life and make bigger decisions and step out of your comfort zone. It's really important to just do it and keep the trust and the faith in God and that you're being guided, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did. And afterwards, a couple months later, I actually found out that I was pregnant with our first son. So that was a very, very huge thing at the time, especially. So I was very happy for that. I was a little nerve-wracked. I wasn't sure what to expect, but everything worked out beautifully. So we actually ended up building our house, me having our baby, and getting married within just the course of a year.
Oh,
And
wow. That was a busy year.
Yes.
That
That was all in El Salvador.
So your baby was born in SV.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, you are the first person I know that has had that experience from a foreigner point of view. Yeah, but that's wild. What an adventurous first year. Getting married, having a baby, and building a house. And immigration. Wow. So, but first, you were born in the UK, but then I guess, did you meet your husband in New York?
No, he actually came to Cambridge and we met online. He found my YouTube channel. So we actually started talking online and eventually he came to visit me. And from there, we just decided that El Salvador was the right place to be. And like many other people who follow you, Jeni, and who are watching this, they all feel that they want to get out of the city. They want to get out of the Western world, the Western hemisphere. They want to go and find some land or build a house or live somewhere in the country and just get away from all of these systems that are really, dragging people down in places like England, the UK, Europe. And El Salvador is definitely one of those places that can help you to really, start afresh, build a new life, and just feel more comfort and be able to start afresh if that's what people want to, just do. Follow their heart, follow their passions, their dreams, their desires. I know there are so many people who find it difficult to really make that move. And I know that you're helping so many people right now to be able to get a glimpse into what it actually means to live like a local in El Salvador. Yeah. And that's important because before we moved, I found your channel and I was watching, binge watching your videos and I was like super obsessed and I found them really, really helpful because it gave me personally a glimpse and a view into what to expect before we actually moved over and how the culture is and how to respect that and how to become a part of it.
Yeah, and from one YouTuber to another YouTuber, it's so interesting because at least nowadays we try our best to be as authentic as possible because that's really what creates a good channel is you can usually smell the authenticity or whether it's they're faking it. And in YouTube it's such a blessing because you don't have to, you can hear all this media all over the place. But in the end, you always can go straight to YouTube and say, okay, but I want a normal person, not, a beautifully polished professional person that's being paid, but I want a normal person to kind of lay it out and show me what reality is like.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm like you coming from the UK. I mean, what was one of the biggest reasons why you wouldn't stay in the UK to kind of, and just get like a place out in the country in the UK?
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I think for me personally, one of the number one reasons was that I guess you could say the financial monetary aspect. Number two, I would say just generally the culture. I myself have never really liked England, even though I was born there. I never really felt like I fit in very well. I was always super, super hypersensitive to the weather, the rain, the cold. I was always getting sick because of it. It's almost like a part of me genetically. I mean, maybe due to the fact that some of my relatives are from India. I don't know what it is, but I felt like I wasn't meant to be there. And when I met my husband and I realized that his family are from El Salvador, I had never even actually heard about El Salvador before. It's not a country that we are taught about in England, unfortunately. And so when I started watching your videos and doing my own research into the culture, into the background of El Salvador, into the people, how do they live, the foods, all the amazing things about the country, I was just in love. And I just felt like this is the place for me. And my husband, obviously his family being from El Salvador, well, there was nothing at that point really holding us back. So yeah,
like that like you said, the Indian ancestry, like maybe there's the tropical part of you was kind of calling, saying, okay, ditch the gray weather. We need sunshine, and that makes sense with, I mean, now that I know you a lot more personally, and like you always just kind of radiate light, so it just makes more sense to see you in an atmosphere that's just much more bright and much more full of light than the typical kind of, when I think of England and all the overcastness and all the it's just much more seasonal. And and that's just not your vibe. Your vibe is much more, okay, I'm here to be a light to the world and to love and bless others. And so El Salvador is definitely more that kind of a vibe, I guess you could say. So you guys kind of take the leap and you came down here and you started with the house building process. And I mean, the great thing is you were young and you were just starting out with your family. And that makes certain things kind of easier and smoother as opposed to when you're old and you have lots of stuff, lots of kids and things like that. But how is it, here's my question with you in looking, you took the leap of faith and you got here, and how bumpy was it when you guys got down here?
Well, I know some people, like our friend Karen, for example, she's going to be making a road trip here for 6 days.
Yeah.
From Colorado, I think, to El Salvador. And I mean, that's just some, dedication right there. But we took a flight, so it was a lot more easier, straightforward. And the day after we arrived, I woke up the next morning at literally 5 a.m. and I just felt alive for the first time in years.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so for me personally, settling in, it was almost instant. However, there were some culture shocks.
Yeah.
I remember one example, which is quite funny, is that when we went to a store called Super Selectos to get some groceries, the same week after we moved, there was a man who was putting our groceries into some bags, and he was standing next to the lady working at the cashier, at the till to scan the items. So there were 2 individuals working, and I was shocked. And I said to Kevin, hey, that guy is taking our stuff. Are you going to go and say something to him? And I kid you not, I literally thought that the man working at the store was stealing our items because he was helping us put them into bags.
The bagging guy. Bagging guy.
And I couldn't believe it. And then he offered to bring our items to the car. And I just thought, what world is this? In England, no one working at a store offers to help you put your items in a bag or even take it to your car. So that for me was a huge, huge culture shock. Not only because of how different it is compared to the UK, but also because of how kind and how friendly that is, and the service. The people here, the culture is very warm. It's like, I like to compare it, well, for me, I grew up in the deep South, so I like to kind of compare it to what Southern grace and what the South used to be like 20 years ago, where everybody was, really friendly, really helpful. It wasn't a thing of, oh, mind your own business. No, it's like, no, if you saw somebody having trouble, you automatically jumped in. If they didn't want it, they'd say like, no, I'm good, and that's fine. But they wouldn't get offended or mad at you for at least offering help. Whereas now, when I visit the South, it's a lot more frigid, you could say. And people are just like, mind your own business, don't talk to me, don't mess with me. And it's definitely different. But no, in El Salvador, yes, people are much more laid back, and they assume the automatic assumption is a good assumption instead of a suspicious bad assumption. When something happens, you can kind of react of just like, oh, well, they're probably doing this for this good reason, versus they're doing that, they're trying to, they're going to steal it or something like that. But it's very, that's what makes it so wonderful, is the people above and beyond everything else. So now that you guys have been down here, your beautiful little baby is growing super quick. And
and things are moving up. Your husband, if you guys, I'll put a link down below in the description so you can meet Kevin, her super cool husband, who started his own business down here in El Salvador, being we call it diaspora, or a Salvadoran that grew up or was born outside of El Salvador and then has come back. You can see about his business and what he's doing and what he's creating here. But share with us a little bit about what you're creating and kind of the roots and the foundations that you are laying down for your family and your own personal growth.
Sure, great question. Me personally, I grew up with, I guess you could say, some sort of healing abilities. One of them being Reiki, being able to channel energy through your hands, usually for the intention of healing. And so I ended up utilizing my gifts on a professional basis. Fast forward 17, 18 plus years later. As an 18-year-old, I was already working with clients one-to-one globally through my YouTube channel, which I'm sure Jenny's linked down below.
That's linked down below too. Yep.
And so I always had this calling to sort of serve people, serve the world through these gifts, through these abilities, also using my voice, which was another gift or ability that I was born with, the ability to sing and use my voice for sound healing. Mm-hmm. And when I was about 15 or 16, I remember just when I was actually deciding to discontinue schooling and the education system, at a very young age, God called me to pursue something higher and bigger beyond myself. And at the time, it was very scary. It was very frightening. I was making a very, very big decision to discontinue school. However, I would say in the end, it worked out. And now I'm here in El Salvador. Now we're here and we have our family, we have our home, we have a base and a stable, solid foundation. I felt like I was in a good place to start following my calling, taking it a step further. And one thing that I decided to launch just less than a week ago is something called the School of Light. And the School of Light, which Jenny is also a part of, and she recently just attended our first ever class, is a community, and it is a platform and a school to be able to provide people, beautiful souls worldwide, no matter where you are, starting online with weekly live classes. And what we focus on ranges from energy healing modalities to all forms of self-development, to your health, right? Being self-sustainable, living in accordance with nature, with the creator, learning to tap into your best self, your intuition, how to follow your calling, whether you are a creator, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a spiritual practitioner, or just simply a normal individual who just loves self-development and spirituality. This is for you. So this is why I created the School of Light, because I felt like it resonated with what I want to put out into the world and be able to help others like me. So right now we have a few students. You can find more about the School of Light down below, and it's completely free for your first class. So I encourage anyone who is interested in everything I just mentioned to check it out for sure. And
definitely
just
check
the
out.
Beginning.
You guys check out, because I mean, a lot of people, and that's just it, because of El Salvador's kind of vibe of kind of, you know what, we're going to go against the grain and we're going to do what's right for us. Because that's definitely the El Salvador vibe when it comes to like Bitcoin, when it came to cracking down and taking out the gangsters and stuff. The whole rest of the world can say all day long, okay, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way, that you get so stuck in the shoulds that you hit a point sometimes. I mean, we just as people, we get so many shoulds stacked up that you hit a point where you have to say, you got to stop shoulding yourself, you know? And it's like, when was the last time, you guys out in YouTube world, when was the last time you felt just like, I can't keep checking all these boxes for other people? I have to clear out all this fog, all this junk, and start to say, what is it that I'm truly good at it? And what is it that God gave me to make this world a better place? And that's what I love about your platform and your School of Light is, because a lot of times people can be very divisive in the energy work realm and the spirituality realm when it comes to like religions versus energy works versus psychology versus spirituality. And the problem that always rubs me wrong with that is when it becomes a thing of we're right and you all are wrong. And you have to think exactly like me and have experienced the same truths that I have experienced in order for us to, relate or learn from each other. And that always kind of rubs me wrong, because there's so much beautiful light out there and we're all so incredibly different, and we all experience life and receive God's love and then have such different spiritual gifts and talents to make this world a better place, that to sit there and say, you have to fit my box in order for me to learn from you and for you to learn from me, it just turns me off immediately. And that's what I like about, even in going to like the first classes, and even in the homework, that's one thing I liked about the homework for that first class is it used different types of art forms in order to help process what you learn during the class. Like you use journaling, because some people, journaling is so good, so therapeutic.
Yeah.
But I also like about the sound aspect. If you guys have never experienced like sound therapy, I really like that when it comes to like abuse and PTSD kind of victims, because you don't want to re-traumatize. A lot of times with something I don't like about like therapy, especially talk therapy, is sometimes you have to re-victimize by talking about the hurt that happened. And when you come up and you talk about these really painful moments, it creates this re-victimization to live that again. And that's one thing I like about sound healing and using tones. Sometimes just listening to you do your channeling and your singing and the beautiful tones. Sometimes you don't even have to go there. You don't have to go back to that traumatic event. You can just let the tones come in and kind of just resonate and just heal things and get those frequencies lined up again, so you don't feel so out of whack as you did before. And I like that kind of healing when we don't have to beat the bush, you know. We can sit there and kind of feed the roots and feed the plant so the plant can heal instead of attacking the bush itself. But yeah, and I like that because I noticed like even in the homework, you gave that variety, because some people, they'll just listen to it and like, well, it just sounds like classical music, you know, maybe it doesn't do that much for them, but then maybe the journaling will, and the embodiment is always the biggest key, because that's usually almost always, regardless of if you're in counseling, therapy, or energy healing or whatever, almost always it's the embodiment that drives it home, that really seals the deal on making it be a beneficial healing kind of experience. So that is set to just grow and explode, right? Because you've got the website all down, you've got your students signing up, your teachers signing up. Awesome. And what is your and Kevin's, I want to share a little bit of your and Kevin's kind of aspirations for Blessing El Salvador.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, with the School of Light, this is just the beginning. You know, creating a platform where people can heal, where people can level up, upgrade themselves in mind, body, and spirit. Being there with me, my teachers, have a team of light teachers that specialize in all different modalities of healing, from yoga to EFT, meditation, and vice versa. And then obviously the 24/7 community aspect, so all of our students can connect at any given moment. This is just the beginning. So we're starting online, but I would say the ultimate goal is to really bring this to El Salvador. And that would be starting as in-person spiritual healing retreats. Mm-hmm. And so by having a space where we can actually set up a retreat center and being able to employ our friends, people nearby, neighbors locally in our village to actually be there to assist our students, our clients, you know, this is a big thing. It's not only allowing people all over the world to come and heal here in El Salvador, but it's also involving our community in the village that is locally around us as well. So this is very important to me.
Yeah. And that's the great part, because then the more the locals see what you're doing and the more they participate and help, then the more they're willing to try the techniques for themselves and see for themselves what works for them. Because we're all so different and different things work for different people.
Absolutely. Yep. And so at the School of Light, I'm happy that we're able to cover such a broad variety of topics in spirituality and self-development and healing that is not just for one person, but is absolutely for everyone. So I invite any of you watching us to check out the link below and give it a try. It's completely free for your first class. We'd love to have you there.
Yeah, so look down in the description below, because there's a free seven-day trial that you can click into, and you can go to your first live class. You can see replays from former classes that have happened before, and you can see, you know, what resonates, kind of what type or what activities kind of work best for you. And I love that option of variety too. And then if you sign up to actually be enrolled in the school, I think it's only like $37 a month, like practically like $1.07 a day. So pretty much a day. And so super affordable too. Thank you so much, Ellena, for coming on with me and for sharing your story of your new life and new future that you're creating in El Salvador. I am Jeni Ari, shining my light so you can shine yours. If you are interested in coming down to El Salvador, if you want help to come down and integrate into Salvadoran society to help this country of transformation, then go to Living Like a Local and we'll take care of you. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.